Hello everybody, wishing you a happy new year for 2019. It's your boy Jackie Felix, and today I'll be coming out with a new guide to growing Aakman. And my current gear is at 274 AP for both awakened and unawakened, as well as 312 DP. Some of the points I want to go through is stuff like recommended gear, ideal classes for grinding Aakman, some tips and tricks, money per hour, rotations, as well as skill rotations for the wizard class, and as well as some general as well as pros and cons for grinding Aakman. Another thing I forgot to mention was the buffs I use in Aakman. So basically, if I'm grinding normally, what I'll be using is Villa buffs, so that's the body enhancement, 90 minutes. As well as elixirs I use, Fury and Demi-Human elixirs. You can also add on Brutal Carnage elixir as well if you're a class that has a lot of down smashes like Wizard and Witch. Apart from that, if I'm kind of going try hard mode and I want to push as high trash and grind efficiently as possible, I'll sometimes use perfumes and droughts. However, you have to see if using those items will give you the return on investment. For meals, I usually just use chrome meals, either exquisite or energizing chrome meal with BDO. You can also use a simple chrome meal as well. If you want to try to manage 3 or 4 food buff rotation as well, you can do that. However, usually I feel that grinding with chrome meal is sufficient and not as annoying, because you don't need constantly managing 3 or 4 food buffs, as well as you don't need to wait 30 to 40 minutes before you can start efficiently grinding. Recommended gear for Aakman kind of depends on which class you play. For example, spellcasters I'll recommend around soft cap gear, level gear, or 240 AP with Kudum. This is also for classes like Lan or Tamer, which are able to grind Aakman efficiently at lower APs. However, for other classes such as maybe Striker or Musa, I would usually recommend at least 261 AP with Nuva before you want to efficiently grind Aakman. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't try out Aakman if you're not meeting these gear requirements. It just means that you may be making more money at other grind locations compared to Aakman. However, this doesn't mean you can't try this area out. Now let's go into a bit about the money per hour you can make in Aakman. Basically, I've been grinding Aakman for almost 2,000 hours now. I started grinding this place when I was below soft cap, and all the way to now when I'm 274 AP. When I started grinding here around or below soft cap, I was making average of 35 million an hour. However, you can expect to make at least a minimum of 30 million an hour here. That's around 3k trash loot an hour, and that's not using loot scrolls or any karma blessings or anything like that. That is also on normal servers. Now, as you slowly get more AP, you can expect your silver per hour to average anywhere between 40 to 60 million an hour, or even more than that, depending on whether or not if you get tongue red earrings or black shards and red shards. So basically, what tongue red earrings are is that they're golden accessories, which sell for 95 million each, and you can either get them from a base drop tongue red earring or combining both a black and red shard. It is well known that inside Aakman, the majority of shards that are dropped are red shards. Therefore, if you're grinding this area for a long period of time, you would expect to accumulate a large red shard collection. Later on, I'll be going through a rotation which has a higher chance to drop black shards, which is known as the elite rotation. The only mobs that drop these black shards are the elite guardians, and so it is pretty rare to obtain these black shards. However, you can take every black shard you obtain from grinding Aakman basically as a tongue red earring. I can comfortably say now at my gear level, I'm making anywhere between 50 to 70 million an hour here on average. However, if you have hours, this is taking into account a 10-hour period without loose scroll and without Karma Blessing. However, if sometimes I do also average up to 80 to 90 million an hour, depending on the number of black shards and tongue red earrings that drop, as well as the number of ancient scrolls that drop per hour as well. Another important factor that does also impact your money per hour is the state of the marketplace. For example, if the price of scrolls are at max price, or if they are or if the price of BMCs, which are black magic crystals, are at min price, or if they're at max price or sold out. So that does also play a factor into your silver per hour as well. And additional factor I take into account when calculating these money per hour on my Excel sheets is the marketplace tax as well. So everything you sell in this game, the marketplace does get taxed by roughly 15%, or you get 84.5% of the original value of the item. So in addition to the silver power, if you add on top the fact that if you have a castle buff and loot scroll as well, you can easily make up to 150 or 200 an hour, which is absolutely insane silver. So if you do have some loot scrolls saved up, and I'll recommend you save them to either grind Aakman Hysteria, because they do scale. Loot scrolls do scale really well in these end-game grind areas. Just talk a little bit about Karma Blessing. Since most of the mobs, or all of the mobs in Aakman have 100% drop rate on trash loot, having active Karma Blessing won't necessarily affect your trash loot numbers. However, it might affect other items such as black stones, scrolls, or BMCs. Just quickly going through the skill rotations for Wizard. Basically, when I start off my Aqua Jail, and then go into Cataclysm, and then go into Bolide, and I switch over to Swift Earthquake, into Meteor, and then into Earth Response, into MMA, Rebound Fireball Explosion, and then back into Water Sphere and Aqua Bomb, which is the flow version for Water Sphere. So basically, you want to aggro the pets, all the mobs, to one location, and then start off with your super armor rotation. This is so you don't get CC'd easily by the mobs, and then once you have the mob CC'd or knocked down, you can switch over to more unprotected skills in your kit, which DPS. Another thing I forgot to mention as well was when I start off the pack, I usually chuck down my red orb. The red orb is great not only because it can aggro an extra 7 to 8 mobs, it allows you to test damage yourself as well as get a lot of back attacks on the tougher mobs such as the elites. So I would highly recommend you max rank your red orb skill as a Witcher Wizard before you start grinding out. The Swift Earthquake is also a skill I like to use in Aakman as well, since it allows you to pull the mobs together into groups so you can DPS them down easier. I've gone through so far 3 rotations in this video. The first rotation is basically rotation I'll recommend for beginners. It's a very simple room, so it's the top room with a little hole in the front, and you can make decent trash and decent money in that room. However, if you find yourself over clearing room, you might have to move down to the elite rotation, or the third rotation that I have. Basically, so quickly, the elite rotation has a lot of elite guardians, which are the mobs which drop the black shards, so you have a higher chance for tongue red earrings in that rotation. However, you may get less trash loot on average. The third rotation is currently the rotation I do. It has a good balance between scrolls, black stones, trash, as well as black and red shards. Basically, both the elite rotation and the back rotation, I like to call it, are both 2-room rotations. Therefore, yeah, it's very hard to over clear that rotation without being a very high geared individual. Just want to finish off with some quick end comments, some tips, words of advice. Basically, there's these towers in Aakman where what you want to do from they spawn mobs from these towers, and what you want to do is let the mob spawn, and then after you kill the mobs that spawn from tower, you can then go on to kill the tower. If you kill the tower before you kill the mobs that spawn from it, what will happen is the mobs will despawn or disappear, and you won't end up actually getting any loot from that. Also some pros and cons in grinding Aakman. So difference, basically, one of the differences between Aakman and History are that the mobs in Aakman can be CC'd, so you get that bonus damage from Aakman. However, you have to be aware that the mobs in Aakman do hit relatively hard, especially during nighttime. So what I'll recommend when you come to Aakman first is if you have a ferry setup, with Miraculous Cheer, set it to maybe 70 or 80% in terms of your hit points, and just so you have that little extra cushion or safe zone if you do accidentally get CC'd. Because it is very easy to die in Aakman. All it takes is for yourself to get stiffened, knocked down in a group of mobs or elites, and you can easily die here. So with that, I think I've covered most of the pointers I wanted to cover today. If you guys want to check out next time I go live on Twitch, I stream every day from 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can come to my stream, ask me any questions you're unsure of or you need any help or advice. But apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video or guide, and I wish you guys a happy new year, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, guys.